Good morning
Good
and
morning.
welcome to Connie Boucher. Connie, are you there?
I am. I am here and I'm so excited to be here.
And tell us what you've been up to.
Well, I've been healing and I'm doing really well. I've got a few more little issues, but so much better than I was the last time we did a webinar. And I'm just working on getting some foundational pieces in order for my business. And I've got some really fun creative ideas in the works, but I'm disciplining myself to get my foundational stuff in order because I'm really understanding how important that is. So, as we go out through the chakras, we can talk about that also. So, anyway, I'm just doing life and it's all good.
Great. And thank you for, I know you did your book, you updated your book, you revised your book, and you want to share part of the new stuff. So tell me, what are we talking about today?
Well, we're talking about chakras. So I actually didn't really change a lot in my book. Um, I worded things a little bit different in a couple of chapters, like the essential oils and hygiene product part, and just to make it a little bit more friendly for health food stores. You don't want to slant towards any certain company. And the other thing, because I'd taken it to some health food stores and they wouldn't take it because they felt like it was perhaps slanted towards not the
One
brands that they were
particular
selling.
brand.
Yeah, so I just changed it because I feel like the information is really important for everybody to get, and I want it to be able to be as friendly to everyone as possible. But the thing I like the most is on the cover. I didn't really like some of the wording that was on there, and so now it says shine brightly and you were born to shine, because that is really a lot of what my message is about, is just claiming your power and stepping into that, and so you can be the light that you were born to be. So
That's
I like the new wording on the cover. So
great.
are we ready to start?
Yes.
Okay, well, back to that first side that you just changed from. It's supposed to say inside out and karma. And so we all know that what happens on the inside goes out and reflects out to the outside. And then it turns around and brings things back to us. And so I think most people understand that. So if you're having a lot of results out there that you don't like, you really get to look at yourself. So today I wanted to give a little bit different slant to that. So now we can go to the next slide. And so that is that life happens to us. Stuff happens. Sometimes we think when we talk about chakra balancing, that means that we just keep ourselves in perfect alignment. We just walk around in perfect harmony. And that's an awesome thought, but it does not work like that.
I was going to say,
Life is not like that.
when I grow up in my next lifetime, maybe.
Yeah, maybe in your next lifetime, but not here. So stuff happens to you. I had a hell of a year last year, just so y'all know. And um, the thing is, what do we do with all this stuff that happens to us? Because if we're not processing it, it starts weighing on us and we carry it around like baggage. We literally start getting heavy with all this stuff that's just coming upon us. So that's what I want to talk about for a minute, is how that happens. We can go to the next slide. So we have two things. Once that stuff all comes in and starts building up in us, we can either just bitch and moan and complain to everybody and make everybody else that's around us just miserable and wish that they didn't know us or want to get away from us. Or we can pretend like we're okay. We smile and we say everything's fine and we're okay, and we're really not. And that shows too. And inevitably, I love these pictures of these emoto faces that are just all not well, not at ease, because that's what we feel like when we carry that stuff around in us. We start feeling like yuck, and it can't help but come out. So really, when we talk about balancing our chakras, what we're really saying is we're learning to manage our emotions. We're learning to manage that emotional, energetic part of us so that we can cope and be okay through all the ups and downs and ripples that happen in our life. And for a long time I've been telling people that the whole goal is to be able to get back up as fast as you can. Well, last year I had some stuff that knocked me over. In March, I got a perforated bowel, and I'm not a go to the doctor person. I know I didn't feel good. In fact, I knew I felt really bad, but I kept thinking I'd start feeling better. So I was doing all the stuff I knew to help me feel better. And so honestly, some of that stuff probably helped save my life. So after 4 days, I realized this really isn't getting better. And I went to the emergency room, passed out in the emergency room, got woken up by the surgeon to sign a release form saying that they could do whatever to try to save my life. And he said, we're going to give it a shot, but honestly, your odds don't look very good. He said, you've just been way too septic for way too long. My sepsis level was 66, and 20 is pretty dangerous. And so he said, I can't promise you anything. There's a good chance you won't make it. And I didn't even care at that point. I was just like, put me back to sleep, get me out of my pain. And so I ended up having this surgery. I didn't die, but there were a lot of problems.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, because I had been so septic for so long, I was really sick. I had a lot of infection in me. So I was in ICU for 3 weeks, lots of problems that just weren't getting better. And at first I thought, well, I'm just going to get over this. I've had the surgery now, my body's going to heal, and it didn't. And then I came home and I had to bring on oxygen for months. And every time I'd go off of it, my numbers would go crazy again. And I spent hours and hours and hours at the doctor's, and I had so many drains in me. I had to go in my nightgown and flip-flops. I mean, stuff that was so not me. And I had this drain in my butt cheek, and it hurt like you would not believe. And so I couldn't sit well. I couldn't lay well. I mean, everything felt horrible. And honestly, I tried to be optimistic, and then I just went into a really deep funk. And man, I just had to work to not be there. And I was just so impaired physically at every level that I didn't have a lot of control. I couldn't even ride, but I could think. And so what I started doing is I started realizing this is a problem. Like, yeah, you hate this. Yeah, you don't like it. It's horrible to be going through it, but you're going through it. This is your experience. And so I started thinking about the things I was grateful for. Anyway, fortunately, I did enough positive things that I pulled myself out of the funk, and then my body finally started getting better after 2 more surgeries. And anyway, then my daughter dies. I'm just barely getting back on my feet, and my daughter dies right before Christmas. And so I had to deal with all of that. Then I got the flu.
Wait, Connie, your dad passed before that.
No, she did first. Then I got the flu, and then I had like this coughing. I had the flu that was really bad because my immunity just was so low still that I, was like 10 times sicker than you would ever get with the flu. Back in bed for 10 days, just burning up, fevering, throwing up, diarrhea. And then I started this coughing thing, and coughed so hard, I said, I feel like I'm herniating something. And I did. So now I have a big hernia that has to go get fixed, and it's a really good sized one. And then my dad died. So I have had a year, and I can tell you that, I'm not going to stand on my soapbox and say, look, I was just perfect through that. And I think you should be too, because I wasn't. It was hard. And I had my up and down, lots of down moments. But because of the stuff we're going to talk about today, because I know that, because that's in my core, I didn't stay down. None of it buried me. And so that's why I'm so excited to share this message, and also why I'm so passionate about it, because I know there are a lot of people out there going through crap right now. And it's part of life. And if you can learn how to manage yourself through it and navigate yourself energetically through it, you're going to just end up being so much better off. And that's my goal, is to really help people. So thank you for doing the webinar with me, Dr. Sue. I'm really grateful to be here.
Thank you, Connie, for having the courage to deal with all of this.
Well, it's not even about courage. It is. You just got to. So here we go. So the first chakra is the root chakra, and this is your foundational piece. So I was saying that I'm busy getting my foundational pieces in order with my business. So what I find is that I really like to play. And by play, I mean, like if we compared a business to a house, I kind of want to just decorate. I don't even care about the foundation, and I don't care about the walls. I mean, I want the walls because you can put stuff on the walls, but you know, like the electricity and the windows and the plumbing, that stuff's boring to me. I don't want to have to worry about putting that in place. I just want to go decorate. So I've been doing a lot of decorating and in my business, you know, just the fun stuff. And what I find is that everything keeps falling through the cracks, and it's because I have not put foundational pieces in order to keep my business solid, so that when I'm out there playing, everything else still is running well. And so our bodies are a lot the same way, and that's why I share that with you, because if we do not have our foundational chakra, our foundational energy in strong, good working order, all the other stuff we do is going to be kind of like airy fairy empty, and it's not really going to stick. So the thing about chakras is every chakra or energy center is very much attached to the region of the body that it's in, that houses it. And so the root chakra is going to do with our adrenals, but also our skeletal system and our bones. And so our spine, our feet, our legs, and also as part of the skeletal system, your teeth and nails, and then large intestine, colon, anus, and then blood cell production, and also smell. That's all the stuff that has to do with this root chakra. But if you think about your bones and, you know, your skeletal stuff, if you're not in good, strong condition, you start collapsing. So keeping the energy strong and nourishing this part of you is really essential. And so the emotions that could create problems in those areas would be feeling unsafe, insecure. This chakra is about really how we feel we fit in with the world and how solid our footing is here, you know, how grounded, how stable, how much we feel like we belong and we contribute. And so if we feel like we don't belong, or we're just all scattered, or if we go to victim, you know, failure mode, that creates problems, and it also can lead to addiction. So honestly, I have not had good foundational energy for a long, you know, when I was growing up, for a long time, I didn't. And I had all these colon issues. I had all this stuff that happened to me last year, always for chakra stuff. And it was interesting because I've had this strong, strong desire to clean up my act at all levels and really get in an integrity. And when that happened to me, I kept having the feeling, you're cleaning up old stuff. You're healing some old things so that you can really move forward. So I think that's an important thing to remember, is that when we're having an issue in an area, it's just information, and take that and use it so that you can go forward in a better direction.
Right. No judgment, just evaluation.
Right. So I love yoga. I did yoga this morning. I woke up and I could tell that I was tense, and I was worried about some things. So, you know, I always do a check on myself. I pray, and then I just kind of do like a self-check, and I thought, I'm holding a lot of tension. And then I thought about what I could be worried about, and I just mentally said, okay, I'm gonna let this go. And I thought, my body needs to do yoga, because when I do yoga, it opens me up. I flow, you know, I get rid of tension, and I just get things flowing and moving. And so I did yoga, and I feel really great now. So different than I did when I first woke up. So one thing I like to do is, when I'm in doing yoga, is I like to have self-talk. And so I think about the chakras, and I think about what they're about, and then I think positive statements about them. And so some really good ones for the first chakra are, I'm grounded, I'm safe and supported, I'm important, and I belong. Because we all do, we belong here. And this is my time, and I'm meant to be here now. And I think that's so important. You are where you are right now, because this is your life. This is it. You know, you're not going to get a replay. I love getting older, because you get these things you didn't get when you were young. It doesn't ever get better. The best is right the day you are, right where you are. And wherever you are, you're supposed to be there. And if you really know, like, you're just in a situation that doesn't work, get out and go where you do fit. But you belong on the planet. You have something important to contribute. Don't ever feel like you're less than. Never feel like you have to shrink, like I used to do for years, because it doesn't serve. Go out there and be who you are. Share what you have, you fit in. You're meant to be here. That's how it is. So that's the key thing to remember with your first chakra, your root chakra. And then, say, do you have any thoughts about that? How about oils for that first chakra, Dr. Sue?
Oh, well, you have that so nicely covered in your book, but I was just
Okay.
looking at this wonderful frankincense patchouli combination. You know, that's one of my favorites. And again, that's to cause awareness and connectivity to what we can fix.
Mm-hmm. And really grounding. I can just feel how grounding that is for the first chakra. So thank you. Great. Okay, sacral chakra. This is all, oh, I love this chakra. This is such an important chakra. This one has to do with how we feel about just our creative, sexual, reproductive power. And it has to do with the reproductive system, the circulation fluid systems in our body, all of everything that has to do with sex or just your water organs are all in this body, but this chakra area. But the other thing that's in there is the way that we create and the way that we feel passion. Money energy is really connected to our second chakra, or sacral chakra. And if you're having money issues or even like problems, like how you're going to do life, and you're so in your head, that's where I was this morning. Your head's not going to solve the problem. It's opening up your sacral chakra and getting yourself feeling really, really good about yourself. So there's this great exercise you can do, and that is to stand, and this is where you can put on like some of that like really like funky hip hop groove music, and just roll your chakra around. Roll your hips around, like take them in a great big circle. So you're going, clear back and then clear to the right side and to the front and to the left, as extreme as you can. Do some great big hip roll circles and actually kind of put on some sexy moves. That's actually very, very good for opening up this chakra. And then reverse it and doing it like a figure eight. Get that energy moving in this chakra, because this is where we can undo all that negative emotion that gets stuck there. And the negative emotion is just, holding in and keeping yourself shut down and feeling really hopeless and helpless. I like to think of an image of a beach ball that's really blown up, and that's what really full, good sacral chakra energy looks like. And when it gets flat, think about that beach ball or a tire just being out of air, because when you're out of air in this area, you don't get very far. This is where your creativity, your passion, the stuff that makes stuff happen is in this chakra. So you want to make sure that you keep the sacral chakra open. So what sort of oils would you use for this one, Sue?
Oh, I really love the combination of bergamot and cinnamon with juniper berry. I love juniper berry for this whole area, inside and out. Make a tea, diffuse it. You have some nice suggestions if people have issues with multiple UTIs, because the juniper berry is such a gift to re-education of cells that have been familiar with antibiotics for a long time.
Oh my goodness, I need that. So bergamot, cinnamon, and juniper berry.
Yeah, that's a great blend. It
Okay,
warms
write that
you
one
up,
down. I love that.
and you can do those nice exercises you were just talking about that are so fulfilling, and that great visualization of the beach ball is perfect. Keep that energy flowing. It's not flat.
Yeah. And if you want money, if you feel like you don't have enough money and you're stuck, you got to remember that money is just energy, and it's like you create and you give to the world, and in exchange money comes back. It's like an energy exchange. And if you're in this funk and you're shut down and you're not really putting your piece out there, your creative piece, and contributing to mankind, it's kind of a natural cause and effect thing that nothing's going to come back to you. So think about what you can do with this creative energy that you have to create value in the world. And it's amazing how that is what gets that flow of money coming and being open. So I love this yoga pose. This is happy baby pose. And so each of the poses that I put here are good for opening that particular chakra. And this is fun. I used to teach my kids to do this. So we'd lay on the bed in the morning and put our knees up and hold our feet, hold our toes, our feet, or whatever. And then you just wiggle. You wiggle back and forth and back and forth. And it's very opening for the hips. And we'd laugh. And so all my kids, that was the first yoga pose that they learned, was happy baby pose.
I love it.
Anyway, yeah, it's great. And so do that in the morning. That's a great way to get yourself up and going and make yourself feel good first thing in the morning. I just do it in bed lots of times. So some good affirmations, or I call them declarations, because when you declare something, you're literally making a statement out there. Like, if you think back in the days of, when they had royal messengers and they would come out and they would declare the new thing, that was how it was. So when I say something like this, I'm declaring it to the universe. I'm saying, this is how I show up. This is who I am. This is how I do life. And I'm sending that message out there. So my message on this would be, I trust myself to fully express myself. I am free to be creative and passionate. And I am happy with all that I'm creating. And I'm allowing and trusting myself to shine differently. I think that's so important, that we don't hide our light because we're different. You know what? I am a total odd duck. I don't do anything the way everybody else does it. And for years, I thought that was something to be embarrassed about, or something to try to change. And I tried to hide who I am. And one day I figured out that what really makes me unique is my uniqueness. And so I just go with it. I just do what I do. And it's so funny because people will say, well, you have that. I don't really, like, you're you. I can't do this. And you know how many years I felt like that? And then I just finally started doing what I do. And anyway, so I just think that you have to allow yourself to be who you are. And as you're being creative, if you go out of the box, good for you. Don't worry about it. Don't try to push yourself back in. Don't try to conform and be like everybody else. Your piece is different. Embrace it and go with it.
Amen.
Okay, next chakra is our solar plexus chakra. And I absolutely love this chakra because this is these three bottom chakras are all how we have to do with the world, and they're all foundational. And this is a really foundational piece, because this chakra has to do with how we feel about ourselves and how we support ourselves and how we show up for ourselves. And this has to do with our digestive system. It has to do with adrenals again, the stomach, the liver, the spleen, the gallbladder, your lower back, and your autonomic nervous system. So it has to do with some really important parts of you that just keep you going. And the biggest thing that will shut this down is just going into this funk. And I think comparing ourselves to others is really, really hard on this chakra. When we don't have confidence, we're not sure of ourselves, we're critical of ourselves, we're insecure. And then that leads us to being frustrated, and then angry and jealous and depressed, and makes us be kind of martyr, victim-y, and needy. And none of those things are attractive, and none of those feel good. And so they feed this whole cycle of not feeling good. You just got to get past that. And so the way to really get over issues in this chakra is just to fall in love with yourself. You have to, for me, the way that I handled this was I started thinking about me like a small child, like a child that I was really, really fond of, or that I really loved. And I would look at me and think, how do I treat them versus how do I treat me? Like, when a kid does something stupid, we don't say, oh my gosh, how stupid. We say, how cute. Like, isn't that funny? But when we get to be older and we do that ourselves, we beat ourselves up. If you find yourself doing something and then going back and second guessing or kicking yourself or saying, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done that, I feel so stupid, right there is your big sign that you need to work on this chakra, that you need to work on just loving yourself. And I've always had this need of being perfect, which is such a fallacy. There's no such thing. But it's the killer of progress, because if you think you have to be perfect and you're waiting around to get perfect, you're never going to get anywhere. You're just going to sit in a funk all the time.
That's
because
correct.
you're never going to. get there.
Correct. You need to love yourself right now with all of your creative, fun things that are cute, right?
Right. And even if you're not so cute at the moment, like with me, when I was so sick, there wasn't anything that felt cute about that, or even clever or creative or anything. And so at that point, I had to just really go to being compassionately loving with myself and say, wow, this is really hard. It's where you are right now. I mean, except I say we, I talk to myself and I say, well, this is where we are, but we're doing okay. It's okay. This isn't going to be forever. And, I just took it one day at a time, and I would wake up and I would say, oh, you did so good. You made it through the night. Like, look at you. You're doing so good. I talked to my body. I talked to myself. And I wasn't even being amazing at that point, except the amazing thing was I was still hanging in there. So you just have to meet yourself where you are, but love yourself up. That is the secret to this chakra.
Right on. And what helps with that, of course, is our buddy coriander. Coriander helps you rediscover the sweetness of who you are, so it's easy to be loyal to you. Ginger, of course, dissolves old blockages. Ginger's amazing for dissolving old crusty mucus that hides out in places that started out as self-criticism. We call them little knots of criticism. And the
Mhm.
coriander and ginger are amazing working together to help you remember why you're so lovable.
Oh, I like that. I can even feel like that just feels good to me to take internally. I can just feel internally that would feel really good. So,
I love this one.
me too. You know what? So this pose, so you got to remember when we're looking at these yoga poses that these ladies that are doing them have probably done this a lot. And so you might not be able to get yourself in completely in the positions, but go for it anyway. Do what you can do. This is a great position to open yourself up. Just reach back, and I can't remember what this one's called. Anyway, bow pose, I think. Anyway, you reach back and you just grab your ankles the best you can, or even if you can't grab them, just reach back there and just open that center up as much as you can. And one of the things I love is remember, I am stretching out of my comfort zone. Like, I am giving myself permission to go out there and do something I've never done and maybe look stupid or feel stupid. Don't worry about it. Get out of your comfort zone. You never grow if you stay exactly where you are in this little look good groove. And I love and accept myself unconditionally. I think that's so important. That's what we were just talking about. Love yourself no matter where you are, no matter what's going on. And I embrace my quirky and unique ways. I am totally approving of myself. And I quickly forgive myself when I mess up. Those are all just powerful things to say to keep the chakra opening and moving. And, I'm a big believer that standing in front of a mirror and saying these things is important too. Because when you stand in front of a mirror and say them and you look yourself in the eye, you're going to maybe see a lot of different expressions on your face. And you'll know when you believe them because your voice will stay strong. You can meet yourself in the eye and you show up for yourself. And so that's a great practice to just say the positive things in the mirror until you believe it. Lock it in. Okay, so heart. The heart is the center. We talk about the heart center. So the heart is the bridge between the three lower chakras, which have more to do with how we deal in the physical world and our physical self. And they also bridge with the three upper chakras, which are more of how we do things on a spiritual nature. They're more connected spiritually. And then I love that the arms are right at the heart chakra level, because our arms are what allow us to reach out and to love life, just to embrace life, and also to serve others and to pull others to us, and just hold them and comfort them. There's so many things we can do with the heart. And the heart has to do with just some really nice key parts of our body, like our lungs and our heart, which we don't do very well if we can't breathe. And so these and it also has to do with the thymus and the lymph glands and blood circulation, immunity, and with our head, it has to do with our head. So we want to keep this part of us strong, and parts that would weaken us would be hurt, anger, self-pity, forgiving, feeling guilty. I think ungrateful. I didn't put that on there, but I'm just feeling ungrateful is really
That comes up a lot
hard.
in the heart. It does.
Yeah. And grief. Grief is another one. And then just being afraid, heartless, insecure, and fearing rejection. All of those things have to do with the heart. And so I just have to share this with you right now. When, everything I went through last year was hard on me. It really was hard. And I'm sure there was a little bit of grieving and moaning the loss of so many days. It was just challenging. And then Aubrey died. And it was right before Christmas. I'd just barely gotten on my feet, literally. Like I just was getting to the point where I could stand without feeling like I was collapsing. And I couldn't stand really well, but I could be on my feet for 20 minutes or 30 minutes without just completely, my core was so weak after everything that I'd gone through. So starting to get that back. And when she died, it became apparent that as the mother, there were things that if I didn't do them, it wasn't going to get done. And so I stepped up and I did them. And there was a lot of adrenaline, I'm sure, that got me through that because I hadn't been doing things. And so, and there was a lot of pressure, everybody was dealing with their stuff their own ways. And I had to be strong. And I got through it, and I came home from the funeral, and I just walked in the house and felt a collapse, just an utter and complete collapse of everything. And I got through that day, and then, had to get going again because it was Christmas and I had kids here. And, I didn't really take time to grieve. I couldn't. I didn't feel like I could. And then I got the flu, and then I was just like so sick. And then I just got back on my feet from that, and then my dad dies. And so, once again, I just kept going, had to be strong. I'm having to deal with my mom. So when I talked in the beginning about how we take this stuff in, and if we don't process it, it gets stuck in us. Here's an example. I'm telling this story because I want you to see how it's happened for me. So I went to the doctor because I have to get this hernia fixed. And when I first went in, it was in February, and he said, I'm not going to touch you. You've had too much surgery. You need to heal more, and you've got to get over this cough, because I had a really bad cough. And that cough lasted for 3 months. And by the way, the only thing that really helped it was essential oils. And I would use oils. Dr. Sue told me to do myrrh and frankincense, myrrh and lemon and arborvitae. So I put those on, and they helped. And then I would start feeling better, and then I'd forget to put the oils on, and then I'd start coughing again. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to put the oils on. So anyway, the oils really helped me get over it, and they were the only thing that helped. So I finally got over the cough and everything, and I went back in last week, and anyway, my doctor said, okay, you got to have a CAT scan, and I want to see, we'll make sure everything's good before we did an MRI, before I did surgery. So we did it, and when I went in after that, he said, okay, we could see the bottom of your lungs, and there's some nodules, or I don't know what he called them, big fibroid things. And he said he had the doctor, because I'm at a different hospital now, than my insurance changed, so I have to go to a different hospital. So he'd called the radiologist at the hospital I was before and had him compare my scans from when they did a lung scan before. And he said, they're worse now than they were last year. And I said, well, yeah, but what I can tell you from the way my lungs are functioning is that if you had an x-ray in December, I'll bet you anything, or January, that they were way worse then than they were last summer, and that they're way better now than they were back then. But he doesn't have that middle x-ray to see. But what I knew when he said, your lungs look worse. I said to him, well, I'm not surprised. My daughter died. I didn't process the grief very well at all. I'm pretty sure I've not processed that. I had a couple of tears, I cried a little when I first found out, but then you just put it in and keep going because you got to. And then I got this really bad cough, and I coughed and coughed and coughed and coughed for 3 months, really severely coughing. I said, of course they had to get worse, but I know where I was then and I know where I'm now. I know I'm better. And I said, thank you for that information. I'm happy to know that I have, my lungs don't look so great. So there's something I can work on there, because to me, that's just a project. That's just an awareness that says, okay, you got a problem in that area. Now step up your game and take care of that. So I've realized that I probably need to work on doing something that will let me express the sad emotion that I'm holding in my body. And I'm starting to, because I start to cry a little bit when I talk about it, which I haven't even been doing. So anyway, that's why it's so important that when you have something happen, instead of storing it up, you work at letting it out. And I have been working at that, but obviously I need to do more. And so use your body as information. If you're having an issue in one of the, in some area of your body, see what chakra it's attached to. See what sort of things you might need to do to clean that up. That's how managing your energy works. That's how keeping yourself in balance works. So is that helpful, Dr. Sue?
That was excellent. And I really think that a good move for people that want to keep their heart chakra moving through grief, through joy, through everything is bergamot, eucalyptus, and marjoram.
Okay, I like that. Can we do something where you can write down your oil blends? Is there a way we can stick these on here at the end or something so that people have them?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can do that.
Okay, I love that because they're so important, I believe.
Yeah.
And I'm not writing this down and I'm not remembering everything, and I want to know.
Nope, it's fine. I'd be happy to.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and for this heart chakra, one of the biggest things to do is just forgive yourself, forgive other people, write it out, do whatever you have to do so you don't hang on to that emotion, and then be grateful. So one of the yoga poses that's really helpful for this is cat cow. And so this girl is kind of like in a cow mode. And then if she was in cat, she would arch her back up. So you kneel on your hands and knees and you just like arch, and then what do you call that? Anyway, you arch and then you lift your chin up and look clear up. And so you're bowing your back in. And that is really, really good for moving the energy in the heart chakra. And I am willing to let go and forgive. Like, that is so critical. When you see people, and I've been there, that I'm just going to hang on to this because that's my story and that's the way it is, or somebody did this to me and I'm never going to let it go. It only hurts you. It doesn't hurt them. It just hurts you. I did that with my ex-husband once, and I had a friend and she's like, he's not miserable just because you are. You're making yourself miserable because he's moved on and he has got a life. And you're not hurting him by hanging on to that. You're just hurting you. Let it go so you can move on and have a life. Thankfully, I finally did that. I choose to love others and love life. Fall in love with your life, whatever it is. You are alive. And I think after this last year, the gift of it for me is that I see and feel what a gift it is to be alive. It really is a gift. And, do what you can to keep yourself up and moving and happy so you have a quality of life. It's worth the effort. Yeah. And I am giving, and okay, go ahead, Sue.
I was just going to say, yes. And the other part of this is people think they're supposed to say, I'm doing well, because they don't know how to respond when people are grieving. They know you've suffered a loss. They don't know what to say. So how are you doing? So we're programmed by society to report, okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. When you're not. And yet, if you say you're not good, you think you're making other people uncomfortable, but you can't worry about that. When you're processing, you have to tell the truth. I tend to hide so that I don't have to answer those questions. Everybody handles it differently, but it's really important that you're honest within yourself.
That's so true. That is so true, because remember the little picture at the beginning where, you really don't feel happy, but you got the smile on and you're like, I'm good. It's all good. And, you know, I read something yesterday on Facebook, and I really, really got my the heart level, because this woman's mother had died, and she just said, you know, I miss her. I really miss her. And it hurts. Like, I wish I could go be with her again. You know, how am I going to get by without her? And I thought, I love the real, raw honesty there. You know, she's like, I'm sure I'll be okay, but right now I just really hurt. And I think that it's so important to acknowledge when you are hurting, that, you know, we have these moments, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's optimal when everything's good, but life doesn't just give us optimal all the time. Sometimes we have crap and we have to deal with it. And it's good to say, I'm afraid. It's good to say, I'm scared. It's good to say, I'm really mad about this. But don't stay in that. Get it out and then get on. Don't nurse it forever.
I was going to say,
Because,
please, no wound exchanging going on. Please, please, please. Because that holds you in space. That's called putting a Band-Aid on it, burying it further, because now you just got some attention because you shared wounds. Don't do
yeah,
the wound sharing. Process your feelings your way. It's so important.
you know, that's true. And when you're talking about the you know, sharing wounds and stuff, I've been in enough therapy groups to know that you got to be careful with those. And there's some really good ones, but there are some where I just call it poop stirring. You know, everybody just vomits all their stuff out, and then they stir the poop. And I call it a sewer swirl, because they're not, and this was years ago, I made this connection. I thought, nothing is getting solved here. These people are loving these groups because they get validated in their miserable life. You know, they all validate each other and hug each other. Oh, you poor thing. And, you know, drama, drama, drama. And don't stir the poop. Get it out
I
and
like
then
it.
flush the toilet. And you might have to keep doing it over and over and over, but don't just keep it there and stir it. Don't make your identity be your problem.
Nope.
Turn your mess into your message. Don't invest in your mess and grow it.
Right. It's okay to state facts, as unpleasant as they may have been, for perspective, so you understand people are speaking from experience. But we don't want to dwell in the oh poor me thing.
No, you don't. And you don't want to dwell in your pain. But when you are grieving, or when you have that come up, acknowledge it, get it out, go through it. But then you just don't want to stay there. Like for me, for example, my daughter died, and it was a drug overdose. And a lot of it was, we didn't know that at the beginning, but that's what it was. And a lot of it's because she didn't know how to deal with her pain. She just became addicted as a way from running, as a way of running from hard things. And which makes me even more passionate about sharing this message. But you know, that could be my identity, is that, like, I could just go on and tell you, oh, blah, 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 my life, blah, 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 and then this and blah, blah, blah. You know, that could be what I started wrapping myself up in, is that story. And I don't. I'm telling it because I believe it serves to tell. I think there's value for other people to hear it. And I'm trying to be as honest and real as I can. And when I say I realize I haven't really grieved, I'm just being honest. Like, I'm figuring that out. So I'm now saying to myself, you can cry if you want to. You know, it's okay if you want to sit here and have a moment. If you want to, but then you're just not going to stay in it all day. Once you do it, you get on with your life. You know, you have your moments, and then you process it, and then, you know, you love yourself up, love up other people, whatever, and move on. And if someone's done something to you and it's really been hurtful, and I've had some really hurtful things done to me, same thing, process it through, get that pain out. I call this taking out the trash. And so what I do is I get a piece of paper, and I did this in my head when I couldn't write. So I just did the same thing I'm going to say to do with it, just thinking it through. I get out a piece of paper and I just write out all my feelings. I write what I'm thinking. I feel this, I feel that. And there's no censorship on this. Whatever's in there comes out. I don't worry about if it's not a nice word or if it wasn't a nice thing. I just get it out until the emotion's gone. Then I go shred it. And at that shredding moment, I'm making the choice to let this go. It's done. It's over. and then I literally get rid of the paper. And then I just choose to bring in a new energy, a new feeling. And I'm not going to stay and stir the poop, but I got to get the poop out and flush the toilet. So
Right.
that's where I come from on all of that. That's so important.
It's perfect.
Okay. Next chakra is our throat chakra. This chakra is located right in the throat, and it is a really important chakra because it has to do with our thyroid if it gets blocked. And it also, when you get all that tension in your neck and your shoulders and your arm, you know, that just heavy stuff, that usually has to do with having blocked energy in this chakra. So that's from either not expressing what you need to say. And the reason why most people don't express what they really feel like they need to say is their fear of rejection or their fear of somebody's reaction. They don't want to look stupid. They don't want to, you know, be embarrassed. Or so they'll bite their tongue, literally. And have you ever done that where you just sit there and you want to say something so bad, but you don't dare say it? And you
Right.
just
And
won't
sometimes
say
you
it?
stuff food in your mouth to keep from saying it.
Yes. Yeah, that's the other thing. We just stuff stuff in to stuff it back in so we don't have that word. But when we do that, it is really, really hard on us. And so this chakra also has to do with willpower. So being weak-willed is really hard on this chakra. It shuts that energy down. And also being really conflicted in what you're believing or what you want to say. And then just being mean, gossipy, lying, all of those things are so bad for the throat chakra. And so the way that we would counteract that would be, first of all, don't just keep all your words in until they become so bottled up that something happens and the cork comes off and then you just spew out whatever. And that happens. People will not say, they will not say, they will not say, you know, they just like quiet, 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 and they hold their peace, you know, just hold it in. And then one thing will happen and then pow. And everything they've been holding in comes out with a lot of force. And the problem with that is you can sometimes do irreparable damage. You cannot take back words. People remember things you say. And sometimes there's a lot of anger or frustration wrapped in, you know, what you're holding in. You're so angry about the fact that you haven't been able to say it or you can't get your piece out, that when you do say it, you say it way with, you know, way more ugly energy than you would ever put into it if you would just said it in the first place. So one thing that I found that helps is if I can't get my words out and I'm not sure what I want to say or I'm, you know, conflicted, I write it out until I am very, very clear. Or I practice saying it just in my mind, you know, or sometimes I even looked in the mirror and said stuff out loud just so I could get up my nerve to say what I wanted to say. And then just be nice. Like, tell the truth. Say kind things about other people. Don't throw them under the bus. And say nice things to people. The more nice, positive, awesome things you can say, the more you open up the energy in this chakra.
Yes. And when you're having trouble sorting between feeling and expressing, I have found that Roman chamomile with wild orange is quite extraordinary. You can start diffusing it, then apply it to the bones behind your ears, then apply it to your throat to allow peaceful expression as opposed to what you just explained about the torrid experience.
I love that. That is so cool. So that was Roman chamomile and
Wild orange.
wild orange. Yeah, I like that a lot.
But you start gentle. You start, like I said, diffusing, because you might be surprised at how strong you feel about some things. And in the
Yeah,
expressing, you can put things in balance.
yeah. And if you can feel you have that energy bound up, start working on it. Do what you can to release that. And so this yoga pose is like a warrior pose where you're really opening up your throat area and allow yourself to say what's on your mind. I trust myself to speak with love and respect. Trust that you will say the right thing. Give yourself permission. I'm comfortable speaking my truth, and I enjoy saying kind words to others. Those are all things that will strengthen your throat chakra and open it.
Ah, magic.
Yeah, third eye. Okay, so this one has to do with your neurological system and your small muscle control. It has to do with your left brain hemisphere and your left eye and pituitary gland and endocrine system. So those are pretty important parts of you. And this third eye has to do with being able to see or see without seeing with our eye. And our eye actually does help give us information, but it's that seeing the unseen, seeing deeper than what is on the surface. And what will shut this area down is being disconnected, not being really clear about what we're thinking, having really undisciplined thoughts, where we're just like all over the map and we don't really care. We're just fine with that. Being not assertive, confused. And so really what the root of that is not claiming our power. So being afraid to see things and not being willing to see things as they really are, not being willing to claim who we are and claim the power that we have, will all shut down the third eye chakra. And, this was an important area because this is where we really see that beyond thing that is empowering for us. And just if you look at our world now, like we're so tuned into our screens. We're so tuned into, like a lot of times you'll see people with headphones on and they're not even paying attention to what's going on around them. They're just like on a programmed system, like they're just doing the programming thing. And so a really good way to open up this chakra is to go out in nature and connect with nature. And so the way how you do that is you go out and you look at something and you study it. And you just be quiet. It's kind of a meditative thing. And you're just like, what's going on? Ask the question, what's going on? And sit and study something in nature, and you will be surprised at what starts coming to you. So that's a great way to start opening up the chakra.
Oh, it is. It's amazing.
And then what oils would you suggest?
I love juniper berry, sandalwood, and frankincense.
Okay, I
They
like that.
they have a gift not only to open up, but to make you aware of when you've had intuitive responses before that you dismissed as unimportant.
I have enough oils in my house, all over my house, in every area of my house, that I'm so familiar with them. As you're saying these, I'm just kind of picturing and, kind of can almost experience what they're going to be like together, just as you to say that. And I'm like, oh, that feels really good to me. That is nice blend. So you could put that blend like just on your third eye. I'm also feeling pulled to put that on the back of my neck and maybe just on my chest. I really like oils in that area.
Oh, yeah.
Just, and then make sure you smell them. Put the oils on and then smell. Just wave your hand in front of your nose so you can really bring in that aroma.
Yes.
Okay, so a yoga pose that's actually really good for this one is just to lay. They call it corpse pose, and just to lay and be very relaxed.
I can
And
do this
also,
one.
everybody can do this one. This
Right.
is one. I could even do this one when I was like super down and out. I could do corpse pose.
Yes.
So, and the trick to this is not just to lay there, but lay there with this intention to completely relax at every level and just allow yourself to receive whatever comes to you. And so some things to say would be, I'm in tune with my intuition. I'm excited about trusting my gut, because your gut and your head are kind of connected. When you have that heart gut feeling like, I just know, that is part of your third eye. And I am open to seeing things different. And I can clearly see my gifts and my life purpose. So I think a lot of times when people are afraid to see or afraid to it's because they don't really want to see who they are or what they came to do. They don't want to see their magnificence or what they could be contributing. It's kind of like the scared hide in the corner so you don't have to go do what you came to do and be who you came to be. And you think the reward is in hiding, but really the reward is in going out there and developing yourself and shining your light and using your gifts to bless everybody else. And I mean, that's where our true joy and satisfaction comes from. So it's so important to be able to clearly get to that space where we can clearly see what we have that makes us special and different a little bit from everybody else, and how we can use that to bless the world, because that's what our purpose is, all of us.
It's all about the shining.
Yes, definitely. And then our crown chakra is our top chakra, and I like to think of the crown and the third eye as sister chakras because they're so connected and so similar. So where the third eye does the left side, the crown is the right. And so the crown is just right on the top of your head, and it has to do with your right brain hemisphere, and your subconscious mind. So your third eye is conscious and your crown is subconscious. And it also has to do with some nice little hormone things. It has to do with your pineal gland, your pituitary gland, and your central nervous system. And it has to do with large muscle control. And so things that will shut this chakra is, once again, just being shut down and being really distracted, being really busy, so busy that you just don't have time to hear or connect, and not having joy. Isn't that interesting that when you just go into this big, depressed, funky place, that shuts down the chakra? And not having any aspirations, feeling really stuck and overwhelmed and feeling hopeless. All of those things will shut down the crown chakra, because this chakra is about being connected and being open and being connected to your higher power or divine energy. This is where we receive information that empowers us and lights us up and gives us what we need to be able to go forward. I think of it as a recharging kind of chakra where you get energy that you need, the light and the energy that you need to be able to just keep yourself up and happy and going. And so what oils would you think
This is where, our magic trick where you put the Melissa on the top of the thumb of your left hand and you rub it on the roof of your mouth. You're going right for the pineal. You're going right for the pituitary, right above the roof of the mouth. You apply the Melissa there. You put it on your tongue. You inhale. You accept the shift that takes place all over your whole body for accepting your gifts and talents and accepting the fact that everything can operate together very, very smoothly. When you're not comfortable doing that, we mix some Melissa with the frankincense and we put it in the back of our neck and on our chest, and we keep inhaling it.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, and sometimes people will say, oh, essential oils taste really yucky. And I used to think that, and I had some oils that really were yucky. So brands are important. I only like doTERRA for doing internally. But some of the oils, like Melissa or frankincense, you might think that has a yucky taste at first. I call it an acquired taste. So, it's not like a candy or a sugary, treat sort of taste. But honestly, it's a cleansing, opening experience. And if you can get past the, oh, yuck, what I find about oils and what I love about them is if I get myself in sort of a junky eating mode and I use the oils, especially Melissa, like you were saying, and put it on the roof of your mouth, it's like it has a cleansing, clearing effect and helps me come back in and focus on where I should be, what's serving me, what's working for me the best. So, if you have a thing about the oils, I'd get over that because they really are useful. And I love that trick about the Melissa. So thank you for reminding us. And then child's pose is a really good pose for just balancing and opening this chakra. And this is where we just really go, I call it kind of a surrender pose, where we're just surrendering. And some of the statements that would be really powerful would be, I'm attuned to my higher power. I am open to receiving truth and light. I enjoy feeling connected to divine energy, and I am connecting with grace and ease.
These are great. And it is so helpful to work with combinations of things to move us into a happier space.
Right. Yes, absolutely. All of these things work together. So, you know, to sum up this, I've thought of a couple of key things that we can do, that I do, that help me manage my energy. And so I think we have another slide. And just, I had this conversation with a friend the other day, and I said, love yourself up. Or I told her I felt like she needed to nurture and nourish herself more. And she said, well, I feel like I do. I feel like I'm, you know, I'm really kind of selfish. I just take care of me. And I said, well, do you love yourself up or do you beat yourself up? And she said, I said, what do you do more? And she said, oh, well, I probably beat myself up more. I said, well, that's the type of nurturing and nourishing I'm talking about, is love yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. Love yourself. Think of yourself as a little kid, like a cute little kid, and love yourself the way you love them. Be your own best friend. Treasure yourself. See how special you are. This is hugely important. And then when it comes to food, ask yourself if you eat to feel a whole or if you eat to make you whole, with a W. Because if I would ask myself that every single time that I went to eat something, a lot of things that are not good for me would not ever enter my mouth. And sometimes, a lot of times, I do think that I've gotten much better at eating well. But, you know, for a lot of my life, the pattern from the time I was a kid was that you eat to fill a hole. In fact, my mother actually taught me that. She said, you know, that's what food is. It fills a hole. And that's not how it is. That's not really the truth. The truth is we eat to make us whole. We eat to nourish and nurture ourselves. So make choices that are going to support you in being a whole, vibrant person. And then, do you settle for mediocre or do you surround yourself with the best? Choose the best. There's good, better, best. If you always choose the best, you're going to end up okay. And I love essential oils. They're one of the fastest ways to shift your energy, to put you in a good space, to just lift your vibration, open you up. Use really good essential oils. doTERRA oils are amazing. They're such a gift. Use them and then use that as your standard, but look at that, at all the decisions you're making. Are you choosing things that are going to get you where you want to be and help you be the person you want to be? And then don't just let life happen to you. Make things happen. You get to create your life. You are the star of your own show. And if you're collapsed on the stage, get up and claim your power and turn your act into something spectacular. You weren't born to be a victim. You were born to become victorious. And you can take charge and live your life on purpose. No matter where you are, you have the ability in you to make progress, to improve, to open up, to become a lighter, brighter, better, more vibrant, happy, healthy person. Every one of us has it in us.
Right. Several people have written, Connie, they want to know your website. What is your website?
Well,
where can people get your books, your CDs? They want to know where to go.
Okay, well, right now my website is getting redone and it is not quite up, but you can find me. It will be connieboucher.com and it should be up in a week or two. And right now you can find me on Facebook. You can message me. I'm really good at reading my messages. And also I have a super simple wellness page on Facebook. And if you go there and like my page, I'd appreciate that. And then I do a giveaway every Monday. So go enter for my giveaway because I give something fun away, something good. I give chakra books away sometimes, and I always give an oil or something good. And so I did just do this new printing, and it used to say "You So Shine," and now it says "Shine Brightly." So if you have a Shine Brightly book, you know it's one of the new ones. And So I'm giving a deal this week until the 12th of May. And so if you get one book, it's $20 and then $2 shipping. So that's kind of like splitting your shipping, and I pay the better part of it.
Okay,
And you don't have to pay
what's
tax.
the retail, honey? What is the normal price?
The normal price is $24.95, so $25. So you would have to be paying, if you got it somewhere else, you'd have to pay tax and then shipping. And then, by the way, if you buy my book on Amazon, I haven't got my new books to them yet, but they will be there, and again in another week or two. I'm just waiting to get them all there, so they'll be on there soon. But you can save shipping on them through Amazon, because if you get Prime, you can get them free shipping. And then also I'm doing a 5-book deal, and so $10, so that's still just $2 a book for shipping, and it's 5 for 100.
That's a deal.
And if you wanted more than 5 books, up to 15, I think I can put 16 in a flat rate box. You can still get so you can have 5 up to 16 for that same price-ish, but you can have the shipping for just $10.
That's really cool.
And so if you want that, just private message me on Facebook, go to my page and then hit message, and then just send me a little thing and tell me what your deal is, and we'll just talk about how to make that happen. And then by May 12th, my website should be up. But the way you can find my books is either at Amazon or at Aroma Tools.
Yay.
Or the 2 best places.
Yay, and you'll probably be doing some autographing at Aroma Tools at convention this year, won't you, Miss Connie?
I will. And if you buy these books from me during this special time, I will autograph them, so we can have a conversation about what you want in them and all that when you message me.
Oh, that is really cool. Thank you very much. And thank you, Miss Connie. As always, you have brightened people's lives. You have brightened their week. You are such a gift to us all. We are so happy the good Lord kept you with us.
Well, I'm happy to be here, and thank you for your time. I know I like looking at the time. I just can't be very short. I'm working on that, but apparently I didn't get good at that yet. But hopefully you found value. The biggest thing is, I don't want people to end up like my daughter. I wish I could have helped her more. And if I can help someone else, I'm really grateful. That's what I want to do. If I can help someone else get through what I went through as well as I got through it, that's what drives me. That's what makes me want to be on calls and makes me want to talk to people. So,
and you do that very well, and we're very grateful. And please remember, God gave everybody a free will.
Oh, I know that. And reach out to me. Be my friend. And I love you, and thank you for listening. Thank you, Dr. Sue.
Bye now.
Bye.
Everybody's sending you hugs and love, Miss Connie.
Oh, thank you.